Okay, if a semi-trailer wheel has this diameter and it goes through 200,000 rotations, how many kilometers did the wheel or truck travel? So let's look above and look up some equations that might give us how far a wheel traveled or the truck traveled based on these two things, rotations and diameter. Okay. Let's look at this. So this gives us distance at the edge of the circle. Okay, so that is, so here's a car tire. At the edge of the circle is how far that edge of the circle travels is also how far it traveled on the road, and how far the edge of the circle traveled is also how far the truck went, right? So it looks like this is the one that we're interested in. Let's go ahead and put that down. SR theta. S equals R theta. Now, this R value is the radius. And this is the angle value, or the number of rotation, or the amount of rotation. So there's a couple things that we need to get out of the way first. So this right here, this R value, that's the radius. And it should be in terms of meters. And then this value right here, this theta value, this needs to be in terms of radians. Okay, let's get to work. So S, that's the distance the edge of the circle traveled, or how far the wheel went, or how far the truck went. It's all the same thing. R is radius. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put down 1.15. Is that true? No, right? Because this is the diameter. So what we need to do is get rid of that and then realize that if we have a circle, this is going to be the radius right there. But this is the diameter. So the diameter is going to be all the way across the middle of the circle, whereas the radius is from the center to the edge of the circle. So basically, the diameter equals twice the radius, right? We need to multiply the radius by 2 in order to equal the diameter. Okay, so the other way around, if we have the diameter, we need to divide by 2 in order for it to be the radius, because again, we want the radius. Okay, so 1.15 divided by 2, now we have the radius, multiplied by theta. Now theta is going to be how many rotations the truck tire went. Not the number of rotations, the amount of angle that the truck tire went through. So those are two different things, right? Because if you were to say one rotation, let's go ahead and look at this. So 360 degrees equals 2 pi radians. You could take this 360 degrees and replace it with run rotation. Rotation equals 2 pi radians. Or you could say that's 360 degrees, right? So what we're going to do now is start right here, and now let's get rotations involved with this equation. So 300 degrees equals 2 pi radians. It's good to start where we know something is true. We know this is true. Now, this is one rotation, right? 360 degrees is one rotation. Now, what would happen if we multiplied both sides by 2? Well, then this would be 2 rotations, right? And we would need to multiply this side by 2 too. Then that would mean 2 rotations is obviously, all of this is 2 rotations as well. So, okay, so that's not enough. We don't need 2 rotations, we need 200,000. So instead, we need to multiply both sides by 200,000. Both sides. Okay. So I hope you can agree with me now that this is 200,000 rotations. And we want to know how many radians is that? Because this is in radians. Okay, so I'm not going to mess with this side because I don't need to. I already know in my mind that this is 200,000 rotations. I just need to know this side right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. 2 multiplied by 200,000. That's just going to be 400,000. Pi radians. Now, it wasn't that bad, was it? We already got it. So we can see that this is 200,000 rotations. So this is also 200,000 rotations. Okay. And this is what we're looking for. This is the theta value we're looking for because we want to know the amount of rotation. So S equals 1.15 divided by 2 multiplied by 400,000 pi. Okay. Now let's go ahead and simplify. So I'm going to take 1.15, just in my calculator. 1.15 divided by 2. And I get... So I'm just simplifying this piece right here. And that's going to be 0.575. Now we just need to multiply that by 400,000 pi. Now let's actually replace this pi with 3.14. Because that's what pi is. Well, it's close enough. We only need 3 significant digits in physics, remember. So pi is 3.14159, blah, 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 blah. 3, 4, going, but we want the 3 significant digits, so let's just use these 3. And it'll give us an answer that's close enough. So I'm going to multiply these 3 together. Okay, 0.575 times 400,000 times 3.14. And I got S being 722,200. Now all of these were in SI units. We used meters, right? Look, right here we used meters. And we also used radians, so we're all in standard units. So we can go ahead and add the standard unit here to the end. Meters. So now we gotta see if we answered the question. Did we answer the question? We know how far it went, right? Because maybe that's what it was asking. So if a semi-trailer has a wheel, okay, so I'm reading it. If a semi-trailer has a wheel, semi-trailer wheel has a 1.15 diameter, and goes through 200,000 rotations, how many kilometers did the truck or wheel travel? So we have meters, we need to switch over to kilometers. Now remember, again, I'm going to say it again. So we were in standard units. So we were using radians, we were using meters in this one. So we stayed in standard units. So again, we're just going to use that same strategy where we stay in the standard units the whole time. So let's go ahead and transfer over to kilometers now. So S, we need a change this. So 722,200 meters. But what we need is kilometers. So what should we do? Well, what I'm gonna do is multiply by 1,000 top and bottom. So that's divided by 1. And I'm gonna multiply by a K, because that represents a 1,000. And then this is 1,000 on bottom. So these are equal to the same thing. So we're actually not, we're only multiplying by 1, because this thing highlighted here is 1, right? So S equals 722,200 K. That's a K. Divided by 1,000. And then we end up with 722.2 K, or kilometers. Remember there's a meters here. All right.